Hey everyone, Zach here, and welcome to video 14 of this series, Learning C++ by Making Games. In this video, we'll start our second iteration, and we'll include a validity check to check if the entered value is within a specified range. We will expand this in the next video, as well as finish out our third iteration. This series has been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors like Nemian Games and Archaic Methods. That said, open up your project and let's get started. Welcome back to the editor, and what we're going to do is we're going to update our game based on the second iteration. So I have some pseudocode updates. As you see, I've added the random seed in, and I'm suggesting that we probably want to update this, and I'll explain why in a moment. The biggest update, though, you'll notice our while loop is drastically different. We have our original ending here as our else, but within our while loop, we have a nested condition. And our nested condition is an if-else if statement. So first we're going to check, is the guessed number greater than 10? If it is, then we're going to tell them, hey, it's greater than 10, guess again. If it's less than or equal to 0, we're going to say it's less than 1 and ask them to guess again. And then if they've guessed and it's in range but not right, so we're keeping the original while loop, we're going to have our old display. Now, why might we want to update this line? It has to do with the fact that we're setting a range here. So we want to give the user, the player, some information. We can't just say, guess a random number, and when they guess a number, go, it's greater than 10. You can't guess greater than 10. So we want to give them something to work with. So that said, let's go ahead and make this. I'm just going to minimize that. And all we're going to do here then is make a quick update to this line here. So we have, hey, let's play a game. Guess what my favorite number is. Go on, guess. Right before they go on, guess, we'll say it is greater than 1, but less than 10. Also, I forgot to delete this, but we're actually going to leave it in for this iteration and the next. Just remember to delete it if you want it to not give you the answer. All right, so we have this while loop. And all we're going to do inside of here is add in if. So remember, that's the keyword for our statement. If you need help remembering how to do this, go back to video 8 and 9, particularly 9 on how to write them. So if guessed number is greater than 10, then, by the way, you'll see some people do put this first bracket on the same line. I don't. It is just a force of habit. It doesn't really matter. But I do. The indents do matter for readability. So if it is greater than 10, then we want to tell the person they've guessed a number greater than 10. So we're going to make this a bit neater, or not neater, but a bit more informative than just saying you guessed greater than 10. And we'll have it say, I said between 1 and 10. Notice the space there. What we're going to do is we're going to go in and put the guessed number in. So guessed number is greater than 10. And then do an std end line. And I'm going to cheat a bit. I'm going to take these two lines and just copy and paste them in, because I'm going to use them each time we go through this. So we have that first if. Then we have our else if. And again, video 8 and 9, if you need help remembering how to write these conditions out. Our guessed number is less than or equal to 0. We want to print std cout. I said between 1 and 10. Again, full stop and space. Guessed number, again, space, is less than 1. My test file, I actually have the wrong part there. I say it's less than 0. It could be 0, and 0 is not a valid number for the game, that is. And then we're going to do our end line and our two input lines of, or two other lines of guess the number, or guess again, and get the number. The next bit we need to do is if they guess a number that's in the range but does not equal the favorite number. So we'll do else, and we'll add in our brackets there, and I'll remove that extra line that I put in, or the extra slash. We're going to copy, actually we're going to cut the original while loop and paste it into there. So now we have finished out the second iteration of our game. We're giving the player more information. We are checking, is their guess within range? And if it isn't, we're telling them. And if it's just wrong, as it's not the favorite number, we're telling them. But if they're right, we tell them, hey, they're right. But let's test this out. We see our new line. We see the favorite number is 7, so we're not going to guess 7. We'll start with, say, 11. Well, that's good. Let's try 0. Okay, let's try -7. So you see our checks are working. Try a number in range that isn't right. So we see that our third part of our check is working. We don't have the right value. And let's just get the right value in there and see what happens. All right, so it's right. It closes out. And that finishes the second iteration. Now remember, for the third iteration, what I want you to do is set a random number to be 1 to 100 and to offer hints. We'll take care of that in the next video. And I'm going to show you something I haven't told you about that might be helpful for resolving potential bugs when you're testing this one out. And if you run into a particular bug, you'll know what I'm talking about pretty early on. That said, I hope you've enjoyed this series and hope you've enjoyed iterating your first game. And if you have, go ahead and hit that like button down below. It really does help the channel out. If you want to be here when we do our last video that finishes out this game, make sure to hit that subscribe and notify icon so you know when that tutorial is available. And consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. You get a voice in what we cover in these videos. All of that said, I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.